Winston, you're sitting at home right now, I guess.
Yeah, sitting at home, man. Just got back from the gym. In between gym and dinner, it's a nice time.
So what time is it?
7:46 p.m. So
right.
yeah.
And you guys are having winter time still, right?
Yeah, still. But today was the first day where it felt like spring. The wind changed direction, and like it was the day where you could put your arm out of the window and drive, and not have your arm feel like it's going to fall off. So
okay,
yeah, it's good.
To me, it's still like crazy. I mean, we're forced to do the interviews the way we do right now in the last almost 3 years. But still, it's still weird talking to you. You're sitting on the other side of the planet right now. I'm sitting here in Germany, so.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. It's strange that like 3 years ago, this wasn't even like real. Like Zoom didn't exist for us.
Yeah,
an interview like this it was either telephone or it was in person. So yeah, it just shows how much things have changed.
Yeah. So this might be a pretty busy time for you because there's a record coming up.
Yeah, record up, first tour in 3 years. There's basically a lot of things going on.
Yeah, so how are you feeling about that? I mean, this is the first record. Let's call it post-COVID, even it's still there, but it's like things are happening right now. Normally, this might be a basic question, but I think it's kind of different right now.
Yeah. Oh man, God. Everything is really good. I will start with that.
Okay.
Basically since COVID happened and everything stopped, the band has gone through a hell of a lot. In terms of like we wrote an album, then we recorded an album, which was incredibly, incredibly difficult, and then during that period, we've also had to deal with like a bunch of personal stuff. Not even just personal stuff. Like basically, the album kind of made us realize that the way we've been going about things as a band was not leading us in a very good direction, and it almost destroyed us. So over the last few months, we've been doing something about that, which has been really, really great. So right now we're really good, but it's been quite an intense period in this band's career. Probably the most intense, to put it like mildly.
Yeah, you even had to cancel your America tour.
Yeah, that was it. That was literally like that was us actually doing what we should do for the first time in the band's existence. Basically, like in terms of explaining all of everything that's been going on, like we have gone from being 5 guys starting this little band that we like having fun with to being the band that is now Parkway, which is very, very large. And none of us really expected it or anything. It's just like, honestly, we expected the band to last for maybe a year. And 17 years on, like it's just like this massive thing, which none of us anticipated doing, but we all love. But at the same time, like we grew up in this and we haven't grown up learning very good communication skills. No one taught us how to deal with anything that would come with all of this stuff. And about 5 years ago, like basically the first cracks like in it began to like show themselves. And we had a tour booked for a month later, and we just don't cancel anything because like it feels like survival in this band. So we're like, we'll just talk it out a bit and then we'll go on tour. And basically that was just like a bunch of little band-aids, and it didn't do anything. It just pushed it down. And then COVID came along and we've written this record and all of this stuff, but all it did was just make it kind of worse until like COVID being as crazy as it was and the shit that went into making this album was just so much insanity because of COVID that it just like everything that we basically put Band-Aids on was just like, nope, kaboom. And then we're left with like, we're like, well, we got to go on tour in a month, and no one wanted to go on tour. And luckily we could go 5 years ago, we were in the same position and we chose to go on tour instead of doing work on ourselves. we can't do that again or the band will literally die. So let's cancel the tour and put that working effort into making sure that we fix what's wrong with ourselves. So yeah, off to therapy and a shit ton of work on ourselves, which has been like really hard and really awesome at the same point in time. So that's like the shortened version of our last 3 years of existence. I didn't expect it to be like this, but it's just kind of it's happened, and I understand why now. But yeah, man, it's been wild.
Yeah, I was actually wondering when I read the what is a Facebook post, for example, about that, which was in March or April. And then you came up with some new music. I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty short period of time to make things
better or change things. Yeah, that's the thing. It was like we'd had the album done, and what happened basically was like we have such a drive and a passion for what we do, but it's the thing that also we've always everyone in the band has put the band and the art before ourselves and before communication and before all of these things. And that's what drove us to this point. But the drive also creates something really special. And at the end of the creation process, we were like, congratulations. This is the album we wanted to make. Well done. Everyone pulled it off. We almost killed each other, but there's zero compromise on this. This is fantastic. But now we have to deal with the fallout. So we had an album made, which we were happy and excited to release, but we knew we had to do work to even be able to release that. Like, we could have released it and exploded, but we didn't want that to happen. So we knew it was going to be a strange series of events, but at the same point in time, we're like, let's just be honest about it. And it's going to be confusing for people, but a lot of the time this shit is confusing because no one talks about it. Like, half the time someone's like, where they're going away for personal reasons, like someone's, I don't know, there's always suspicion that it's just someone doing something shady, or like someone's got a drug problem and isn't admitting it, or someone needs mental health and the stigma's too much to actually just say, I need help, or something like that. And we're like, let's just lay it out there. Like, we've got a record. Awesome. If people don't quite get what's going on, we'll just tell them as much as we can what's going on, because it's important.
So if there wasn't any record, there might have been a chance for you to go on hiatus, actually.
Yeah, that was actually what we were planning on doing. We were, you mean post like the announcement kind of thing?
I was like, okay, so they take some time off, like for 2 years or something, like other bands do. Price did it twice or something like that.
It's interesting. Like before COVID hit, we were actually saying like, this is the last tour. We're going to take a year off after this, and then we'll come back from it. And then COVID hit, and we basically took 6 months off, and we were like, okay, this is it. But after 6 months, we were like, we were bored. We wanted to write music, so we started to write music. So I guess that just shows where the passion part of it is. But yeah, the difference for us in terms of like the time off and the time away, for us, it was just time off from the band touring work. And it was doing the commitment to the actual personal work, because it is actual work. Like we're doing like 2 therapy sessions a week with the band. We've been doing this for months now. And like, everyone is committed to it, and this is like hard. It's literally going in there and then going, right, today everyone talks about what they don't like about each person in the band and the impact that you've had on this person's life over 17 years. And it's like, it's hard truths, and it comes from a place of love, but it's how you get understanding, because we never talked about this shit. Like, literally, we never shared what our different perspectives are of 17 years of our lives living together, traveling the world, creating this, and everything that went into it. We didn't talk about it. We just did it. And when you start talking about it, you realize the impact is very different for every person, and there's sacrifice and there's pain and love in very different places. And it's really important to know that about each other. So yeah, it's less about like just taking a hiatus for us in terms of just stepping away, and it's actually more about stepping in and going deeper and making sure the connections that we have as friends, like our statement said, is real. Like it's a catch up on our friendships, to be honest.
Which is super, super important, I think. When you were talking about therapy sessions, this might be a strange example or connection, but there's some kind of Monster Metallica documentary popped up in my head, and everyone, but people always laugh about that because it's kind of catfight. I think it's pretty important to 100%. Do this if you feel like you have to do it.
100%, and that's what we've realized. Like, there's been a bunch of things that have also happened, not to us, that we've lost friends to suicide over the last couple of years. Friends in bands who we've known for a long time, and we're close or not close with anyone, but people we love, and we know what it's like, how dark and bad this can get, and at the end of it, what happens. And we weren't there, but we were definitely on the road, going in the wrong direction. And at the same time as well, we've watched other fantastic bands, just in general, that we love, who we've known for a long time, break up because of the communication.
Yeah.
And the combination of the two, we're like, we had it right in front of us. We watched this happen in the worst circumstances in different angles, the personal one and the artistic band one, and just go, do we want that to happen to us? Like, Some Kind of a Monster is something that people you look at it and you're like, fuck, that's crazy. But it that shit's real. And the thing is, in the music industry, that's where you get to, because it's very hard to talk to anyone about what we do and what we go through, because it's just hard for anyone to relate. Like, my friend, my closest friends still have no idea what it is actually like to live in a band. It's just such a foreign thing. And that's why you have movies and television shows, and that's why it's so revered, because there's mystery behind it. But the mystery creates so many problematic situations for the person that's actually growing up in that situation. So this was us trying to set an example and try and speak out. And yeah, Some Kind of a Monster is damn right. It hasn't been exactly the same, but when it was happening, we were literally we some kind of monstering this shit. Is this what's happening? But to be fair, that's what made that an amazing documentary as well. It was the peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just wanted to, the way we've approached it is just try to be as honest as we can, so we can lead by example as well, because mental health is massively, massively important, and we're realizing that more and more when we do this work. And it's something which isn't acknowledged enough. So if this band can set an example in putting up our hands and going, we're all almost 40 years old and we need someone to help us. We can't handle this shit on our own. We have gone to someone else to help us, and we can tell you that matters. It really does help. There is people that can help you through this. Then I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty hard to make the turn now, but there's an album coming up.
Yeah.
So let's try to talk about that, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not a happy-go-lucky album as well.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
It's not. Man. But what I can say, and this, I really mean it. Congratulations. I really, really, really like it. Had the chance to listen to it the first time yesterday, so it's pretty fresh.
Fresh, yeah.
Going into it, I actually didn't read the press text before. I just played it, and then I like in the old times, like you did when there was no Spotify stuff, just putting the CD. I had no CD, but when we did it back then,
man, I get that's so sick. Thank you.
Yeah, and it was an experience. Really, I really, really like it. I really like the let's say classic rock, heavy metal influences or sound. Yeah, good job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a crazy one. It is a really crazy one. Basically, the way we approached the album itself was like I said, it's written in COVID. It might be post-COVID in terms of the release, but it was written during COVID. And the approach to it basically was, we're writing an album now because it's enjoyable. That's why we started, because nothing else was happening. And the idea of music in any form coming back was like big question mark. Like, we're 6 months, 7 months into the pandemic. Everyone is like, they're like, we might have a vaccine for this in 2 years. And you're like, oh shit, this is years. It's not weeks. So you have this like time period that's infinite, and you have the possibility that this could be the last record you ever get to create, and you may never get to go on tour again. So what are you going to actually do? And for us, it was just about tapping into the music that like was really formative for us, which was like, it was 90s, like the heavy influences of the 90s, because those bands are still legendary. Like the hard rock and like heavy metal influences you hear, especially in the guitar playing and the pacing of the entire thing, and some of the song construction. Like, Jeff has made no bones about saying his favorite band in existence, and the reason he plays guitar is Metallica. And he was brought up, like, he started playing Metallica and Machine Head and Pantera and Dire Straits, all these like lead guitar, groove, heavy orientated things. And basically what we did was channel those concepts into what, like, all the other crazy shit we already have going on, and do it in a way that was Parkway, because that was like the biggest challenge for us. It was basically go as crazy as you can. There's no excuse not to, because like, if this is going to be the last thing you ever do, no fucking compromise. So just work. And most of the stuff demanded work because it was very different from anything we'd done before. But at the same point in time, it was true to who we were. It's not like we're trying to reinvent it. We always like keep the roots exactly where they were. But there's just a whole lot more to it now. And it just kind of like, if we've grown in little bits in the past, it was just like, boom, way up, way out. Yeah, no excuses.
Yeah, and I think listening to, I mean, you said it before, you're an album band. You don't really like that single playlist thing, but you have to do it. That's the way the music industry works right now. But listening to the album front to back, to me, it makes more sense listening to Glitch and even The Greatest Fear than just tuning it like on release radar on Spotify on Fridays. Like, oh, there's this new Parkway Drive song next to whatever, the new Kanye West song. What it makes more sense really sitting down, putting your headphones on, and then play, and then really listening to it. And I had this this feeling when listening to The Greatest Fear. I had this another brick in a wall Pink Floyd moment in the chorus. Am I right with that? Is that something 100%. You?
Yeah, there's Pink Floyd, there's Machine Head, there's Metallica, there's like Bohemian Rhapsody, there's like the heaviest Parkway breakdown we've possibly ever written in that, and there's like a staccato-y, Pantera-y nature to the vocals as well. And then there's this other like really like almost cartoony metal take on the actual lyricism, but it's tied into a much deeper concept. So all of those things are like in there. It's all of this stuff, like it pops out in the album in these tiny little bits, which you hear a reference, and it's a very deliberate reference. Because it shows something that's influenced us, but it's never about us like trying to rip something off or anything like that. It's just when you hear it, it's supposed to be there. We've tried to make it like that. Awesome. Yeah. And you're right about like, it was interesting picking the singles for it, because basically we went about it in a very different way with this as well. Like we know what the album is. We knew that Glitch would work really well as a single in terms of like, it's just got big fucking hooks, big mosh part at the end. People will love it. It's a good step in, and it's got just enough weird in there that it's like it really is the tip of the iceberg. But at the same time, we've constantly been trying to make people guess. The whole thing with this album, like the word that we kind of used a lot with the goal for this entire album, the way we sequenced it, is the word like unnerve. We want it to be something where you can't expect the next thing that's coming. Like, it seems to be the history of Parkway as well, as like every time we do something, there's always a little bit of a reaction of like, I didn't think you'd do this. And this entire album is like, all right, there's no comfort zone. Like, you get 2 songs, and even with those 2 songs, you're like, this is a little bit different. And then it goes even more different. And then the next one, right when you think you know what's coming, it goes even more different. And the whole way it changes exactly where you think it's going. So we've done that with Glitch, and watching the reactions to it. I'm like, people think this is going to be us trying to do a Linkin Park album. and this is me going, well, wait till I hear The Greatest Fear, fucking hell. And then like the next single is the title track. And I'm like,
oh,
and
really?
that is when the entire table gets flipped.
Yeah.
And people's perception of what the fuck is coming goes straight out the window, because that is like, that title track is something which, like, we deliberately put it in the middle of the record so it was inescapable. Like, the intent and the sound of it is so different from anything we've done before, but we're not going to put it at the end of the album. You're going to, like, it's going to force your attention. And then from that point on, like, the whole thing has already started spiraling. Like, the journey of the album is just this spiral down into like dark nastiness. But like, from that point, you really just do go, yeah, like down. Also, yeah.
Yeah, that song it's so good. I mean, it's like almost 7 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
Or 6.5.
Like 7.5 or some shit, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's super long.
It's long. Yeah.
When I was listening to it, I was like, wait a minute. Oh, we still have 3 minutes left for that. So what's happening here?
Oh shit, we're heading solo number 3 now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think without any exaggeration, the internet might blow up when this will be released, for sure. But it's an amazing song, really, without any exaggeration. It's really good.
I mean, I really love it. Like, it's one of my proudest moments as a musician. Like, it's like the favorite thing that we've written, just because I know it's a real strong marker point between what we loved that we were never able to do when we first started this band and would never even think of attempting, and where we've come to in the terms of being able to go, let's write a monster fucking ballad, and it's got to go for 7.5 minutes, and we have to commit to this shit, and you have to learn how to create a song like that, and I have to learn to sing to make something work, and it has to be emotional, and everything has to land, and like, that's a big challenge. And yeah, I like, there's, for me, it's a point of like, even 3 years ago, I wanted to try this on Aya, and we couldn't figure out how to write a song like that. And the same thing on Reverence, we just couldn't figure it out. And luckily on this album, like, very early on, Jeff was like, check out this riff I've got. And I got my friend who's the plumber to just whistle at the start of it over, and it was just the acoustic. Like, it was just the acoustic of what we had and what he had. And both Ben and I left and were just humming it. And we both came back and were like, that's the riff that we've needed to write a song like this. It has to be something epic. There can't be anything less. It has to be that. And you just can't fucking get that thing out of your head, man. Once you hear that riff and you hear the whistle, it just doesn't leave. And I've been whistling it like for fucking years now. It drives me insane in a really good way. But that's what we did. And like, there was times when we couldn't figure out how to write this song, and we tried to make it just into a simpler song, and it wasn't. Like, we're like, the riff is wasted unless it is in this form. So we're like, okay, you got to work on it. You have to make this thing. It's got to be the most epic, like, Jeff lead guitar song in the history of Parkway. So go for it, buddy. This is your / walking out of the church moment. Like, and 4 years, like, it's just rain, like, this is November Rain, or it's fucking nothing. Yeah.
I took a look into the liner notes, and there was additional whistle, and I hope I'm correct with that, but there's a guy called Pierre Bouvier on it. Is it our friend from Canada, from Simple Plan, or is it really?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Oh, he's a friend. He's a friend. Like, he's a friend and he's a good whistler. So like, we've got connections with those guys through like, not only meeting them on tour, but also our front of house guy, who is also our producer, George, is friends with them and worked with them a bunch, and they're mates. And when it came to the whistling parts, we wanted to layer that, like, it's got the beautiful lead at the start and the tail, which is Molly Lewis, who's a fucking phenomenal whistler. But we wanted to stack like those refrains so it had the group. It's almost like a gang whistle. Like, it's got the parlay, which is a really interesting concept. But it was kind of hard to hit that register. Like, I was the only one. I think Jeff could nail a little bit of it and I could nail it, but we just basically went around all our friends, like, in different places of the world. There's someone who could pull it off, and he happened to be one of them. And I was like, I wonder if anyone's going to get this one. I wonder if they're going to put 2 and 2 together there.
So cool. Really didn't expect that.
Yeah.
So Parkway Drive has become, I think, like a metal phenomenon for the past 5 years or so, or 10 years. I think you can say that about the new generation of metal bands. You guys have been playing smaller clubs with your, let's say, deathcore, metalcore stuff, growing up to be headlining Wacken Festival and all these massive festivals. I was wondering, how did all of you guys really were on the same path from the beginning, or were there any controversial discussions if this is like the right thing to do? You know what I mean?
I tell you what the most controversial discussion was. No to the first part. We've all been on the same page.
Okay.
It hasn't ever taken us long when anything controversial has come up in terms of a change of style or where we're heading as a band or anything like that, because where we come from is still exactly the same. There's like, how many elements to it? Do we like playing the song? Do we like listening to the song? Have we had fun creating the song? Yes, yes, yes. That's it. That's the quality control. That's literally it. And so far, every single time, it has just, like, it translates with other people. It's kind of just as honest as it gets. Like, we put everything we've got into it, but that's all it is at the end of the day. If one of those boxes isn't ticked, we just don't do it. And the most controversial moment happened when we started writing Aya. So we wrote Vice Grip first, and the first version of Vice Grip was like this full-on mosh song. And it was the first song we wrote for it, and we're like, this is kind of okay, I guess. We're coming off the back of Atlas, where we'd done a bunch of stuff, and off Atlas we were really feeling in this in-between space between really wanting to push further out, but feeling like on the other side of things, we really wanted to, like, keep the roots there, but in the same time, the way we were doing it was just like redoing things over and over again. Like, it was a concept of a concept which we executed already. And we came into jam one day, Ben and I, and Jeff's like, I've rewritten that song. It's got the bits in it, but it's really fucking different. So bear with me. Like, he's just like, I know this is so different, but I can't stop listening to it. And then he played us, like, we didn't even have the bridge at that point in time. He just played us Vice Grip with cut up vocals, like bullshit vocals over it, and just this raging lead guitar. And we're like, holy fuck, man, this is so out there. But it ticked all of the boxes. And we're like, can we do this? Are people just going to kill us for doing this? Like, it's so fucking fun, and we love this so much. It still comes from the same place. It still has the heaviness. It's just gone, like, this is us, like, cutting away the fear of having to stay, of there was still fear at that point of, like, you're 10 years in and it's going so well, but, like, you still hear people saying, like, you're changing too much and I'll fucking hate you if you change anymore. And you're like, well, 10 years of my life will be down the drain. And we really had that moment of like, do you do what you want to do and continue to grow, or do you go backwards and hope that like going backwards or staying still is the thing to do? And we were like, forwards and faster. That's the way we've got to move. And that was the most controversial thing, I think. That was literally the most controversial thing, because we literally had a piece of art in front of us that had stepped so far forward in a way that we hadn't done before, which we had to sit back and go, this is a very bold decision. And it's very evident in the way that song was first received as well. The first thing that you get at Parkway and on IR was Vice Grip, and that was the most controversial moment in Parkway's history. It was like, what the fuck is this? So, but yeah, that's the thing. The thing that we held on to then was like, all right, the quality control of what we have. Do you like writing it? Do you enjoy playing it? Do you enjoy listening to it? We're just like, it's done those things. That has served us all of our years. We're just going to stick with that because like that's true to us. And at the end of the day, we're the ones writing and playing this. So hopefully other people get it. So yeah, after that, it's just been more like backwards and forwards and like combining what we do and learning. And it's just been like kind of just, that was the moment when the accelerator went to the floor. So yeah.
Yeah. With that being said, I'm really looking forward to the reactions to the title track coming up.
Oh, dude, yeah, me too, man. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. So, yeah.
You guys are turning 20 next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there something special we can expect from you guys?
Oh, probably. We haven't necessarily planned it yet because COVID kind of fucked everything up and like compressed everything down. Like we're just about to start touring for the first time and it's like an album, but we definitely don't plan on letting like that moment pass by. We just don't know how. I know there's plans for it. I just haven't seen the schedule. Basically, like at some point in time, we're going to do something, and there's a lot to celebrate. Like there's literally the history of a band that started out fucking playing to 30 people and is now in arenas. And there's a lot of history in that. And it's not like we ever lose our passion for doing what we do or forget about the joy of playing to 30 people as opposed to 30,000. Yeah. So we'll see what we make of it. But yeah, I mean, technically we're probably 20 already. I think we started talking, like Ben and I started talking about getting this band together like the end of 2002. Okay. 2003 we started playing, but technically we're probably fucking close. Yeah. It's pretty nuts, man. My 40th birthday is like 2 days before the tour starts. And awesome. I'm turning 40 and I was like 20 when I started this band. That's a massive amount of time. It's a real trip.
Yeah. Winston, I wish you all the best for the record, for the upcoming tour. Stay healthy, of course.
Yeah. And, dude, that's the challenge. Yeah. That is the fucking challenge for the tour. God. I'm sort of sleeping with like this bag and just walk around like cut off from everything so I can play. But yeah, that's the challenge, dude. So
might be a funny costume on stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for your time, mate.
My pleasure. Cheers, mate.
See you next time.
I'll see you next time. See you soon. Thanks.
Bye-bye.